Dear students, welcome to this next session on voltage shunt feedback amplifier. In the last session, we started this topic and calculated the voltage gain and also talked about the inverting input terminal is at virtual ground. Today we will be talking about input resistance and output resistance of this feedback amplifier. So these are the resources used in the preparation of this session. So up till now we have talked about voltage shunt feedback amplifier. This is also commonly known as inverting amplifier with feedback or closed loop inverting amplifier, because it uses feedback and the input signal is applied to the inverting input terminal of the op amp. So up till now we talked of voltage gain, that ideally it comes out to be minus Rf upon R1. We also talked about the gain of feedback circuit, which is B and is calculated as R1 over R1 plus Rf. So first of all we will take up Miller's theorem, which is very important for calculating the input resistance with feedback of the inverting amplifier. So Miller's theorem refers to a process of creating equivalent circuits. It asserts that a floating impedance element supplied by two voltage sources connected in series may be split into two grounded elements with corresponding impedances. There is also dual Miller's theorem, which regards to the current sources connected in parallel. The two versions are based on Kirchhoff's current law. These theorems are useful in circuit analysis, especially for analyzing circuits with feedback and certain transistor amplifiers at high frequencies. So the Miller's theorem establishes that in a linear circuit, if there exists a branch with impedance Z connecting two nodes with nodal voltage V1 and V2, just you can see here in the figure below that impedance Z is connected to nodes with nodal voltage V1 and V2. Now we can replace this branch by two branches connecting the corresponding node to ground by impedances relatively Z over 1 by K and the another one Kz upon K minus 1, where K is the ratio of V2 by V1. So this figure depicts very clearly how to implement Miller's theorem. So we can use equivalent two-port network technique to replace the two-port representation into its equivalent, and this is the illustration of demonstrating the Miller's theorem. Here we talk of Miller's dual theorem as already discussed. This is with regard to the current sources. So if there is a branch in circuit with impedance Z connected to a node where two currents I1 and I2 converges to ground, then we can replace this branch by conducting the referred currents with impedances relatively equal to 1 plus alpha into Z and 1 plus alpha into Z divided by alpha, where alpha is the ratio of currents I2 by I1. So here we can demonstrate that two currents are converging at a node which is connected to ground with an impedance Z. Now they again can be split into two conducting branches with impedances 1 into alpha, 1 plus alpha into Z, and second one is 1 plus alpha over alpha into Z with currents I1 and I2, and they both are connected to ground. We can also replace this with two-port network equivalent, which is depicted here. So now we will analyze the input resistance of an inverting amplifier with feedback or a voltage shunt feedback amplifier's input resistance. So the easiest method of finding the input resistance is to Millerize the feedback resistance RF. So here we will split RF, that is the feedback resistance, into two Miller components, and they are split as RF over 1 plus A on the input side and RF A over 1 plus A on the output side. So we have to here talk of input resistance with feedback. So we can see here on the input side that we are having three resistances. First one is R1, which is in parallel with two more resistances, RF over 1 plus A and RI. So we have on the input side R1 plus a parallel combination of RF over 1 plus A and RI. So since Ri and A are very large for a practical op amp, and for an ideal op amp they are infinite. So RF over 1 plus A in parallel with Ri becomes almost equal to 0. Hence RIF is equal to R1, and this is ideal. This is the circuit of input resistance with feedback, and we have calculated RIF is equal to R1. So the next one is output resistance with feedback. So the output resistance with feedback is the resistance measured at the output terminal of the feedback amplifier looking back into the circuit. The output resistance of non-inverting amplifier was obtained by using Thevenin's theorem, and we can do the same for inverting amplifier here also. Note that the Thevenin equivalent is exactly the same as for non-inverting amplifier. You can see here it's RF and R1. It's same, no difference whatsoever we did earlier, and it's identical to that of non-inverting amplifier. So the output resistance with feedback for an inverting amplifier is exactly the same for an non-inverting amplifier. So ROF is equal to RO upon 1 plus AB, where A is the open loop gain of the op amp and B is the gain of feedback circuit. Collectively, AB is loop gain, which we did in the previous sessions. So up till now we have talked about these parameters of voltage shunt feedback amplifier, that is voltage gain, gain of the feedback circuit, input resistance and output resistance. Now if we talk of the exact input resistance, RIF is equal to R1. This is the ideal case, and RIF is equal to RF over 1 plus AB. Rest we have already done in the previous sessions. So in the next session we will take up voltage shunt feedback amplifier, and its two parameters will be taken, that is bandwidth with feedback and total output offset voltage with feedback. And then we will go to its special cases, that is current to voltage converter and the inverter.